Dear Minister, dear colleagues, dear friends, as you all know, we are all gathered here today for the same purpose, to work together and to improve the way we work together in tackling radicalization. You are all here because you recognize the extent of this phenomenon in our societies, its complexity and its depth. The third high-level conference of the Radicalization Awareness Network, with an impressive presence of practitioners, experts, as well as ministers, shows how active and engaged we are all across the European Union in continuing our work to prevent and to counter radicalization. I would like to express my thanks to RAN Center of Excellence for making this event happen, as well as my friend who will be here with us in 10 minutes from now, the Deputy Prime Minister of Slovakia, Robert Kalinek. Of course, my good friend and colleague, Sir Julian King, and the other ministers present here today for their availability and their engagement. While radicalization happens at the local level, its security implications and challenges are felt at all levels and across borders. Today provides a unique opportunity to connect the dots between all these different levels and actors, including us here at the EU level. We all know how complex the issue of radicalization is, and that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. The issue of polarization that we have discussed this morning is a challenge that I see as a pan-European global event and across different policy areas. At a moment of rising nationalism, xenophobia and extremism, our challenge is to create and maintain a cohesive and inclusive society for all, to ensure the security of all our citizens. This is why reaching out to all communities is so essential, and in particular the religious communities. This was a central element of the G6 meeting of Ministers of Interior in Rome that Commissioner King and I attended, and it was also a prominent topic at the first EU-Arab World Summit in Athens last week. We should never equate entire communities with terrorism. Just as we see that the majority of those who were radicalized and perpetrated terrorist attacks on European soil were in fact our citizens. Similarly, those perpetrating terrorist attacks in the Middle East and Asia are Muslims turning against fellow Muslims. But most importantly, the majority of those radicalized, whether here or abroad, are young. This is why the launch of the RAN Young platform today is a concrete step forward in involving young people in the prevention of radicalization and violent extremism, and empowering them to take an active role. Several European Union countries are doing this already, and it's time to go further and coordinate actions on this across borders. The practical toolkit that the RAN is presenting today to Member States for the development of their national strategies comes to answer to this need. This work should start not only in the prevention phase, but also in the very challenging context of when terrorist fighters return. There too, our approach needs to be multifaceted, including soft and hard security tools. The role of the Internet here is critical. This is why I have launched the first annual Internet Forum last year to engage with Internet companies on a voluntary basis to prevent and address extremist content online. I will be hosting the second forum soon. In this comprehensive approach, there is also a clear role for security and law enforcement, but also other stakeholders, both institutional and non-governmental. Tackling radicalization effectively from A to Z requires a whole of society and a holistic approach. It is a priority that should be mainstreamed across all our services and political levels, from education and social inclusion, to prisons, to research, to internet, to monitoring and restricting travelling methods, and fighting firearms trafficking and explosives. Our work on radicalization starts before and beyond radicalization. It goes beyond the European Union to our immediate neighbourhood. And because of that, radicalization is not just a local or national issue. It is a European, it is a global issue requiring a joint approach. This makes radicalization one of the key priorities for the European Union today. But our work to prevent and counter it should not be directed from Brussels. It should be developed and executed by you, the practitioners that see the real challenges on the ground. This is bottom-up approach in the uniqueness of the RAN. You are part of a network of more than 3,000 practitioners across Europe, and uniquely placed not just to exchange with your peers, but also to influence and steer policy discussions at the national and European level. Your mission is not just to talk to each other, but to concretely help each other find practical solutions. Last year, we committed extra financial resources for the RAN in order to make it easier for practitioners to come together and learn from one another. I hope you will continue to take full advantage of this unique network and all of its tools. I want to pay particular tribute to the many experts on the ground who are confronted with these challenges on a daily basis. I realize you are working often in uncharted territories. There is no silver bullet to this issue. By experimenting with different approaches and sharing your findings with your European colleagues, you are doing invaluable pioneer work that will make a difference for Europe as a whole. If we really want to enhance our counter-radicalization efforts on an EU scale and raise current standards, it is essential that your voices are heard, so that those working in policy and those at a political level can consider how these local best practices can be rolled out on a much larger scale. Thank you very much for your attention, and I would like, on behalf of the European Commission, to congratulate you for the excellent job you've done so far. We count a lot on you in order to be effective in our common fight against terrorism and radicalization. Thanks again for your attention.